again to HCL Spotlight in conjunction with our wonderful friends at Metro Bank. Today's topic has come up because we were having a conversation during one of our network evenings, and one of the things that came up were the challenges that family members have when dealing with elderly family, like mums, dads, aunts, who then sort of go on to then suffer end of life issues like Alzheimer's, dementia, etc. And I've dealt with a lot of litigation where, the question turned around whether the person was being abused, did the family member have a right to access the money, etc. And oftentimes we've had to go to the bank to find out what the policies are, etc. Now, obviously, given that we share the same values about how to manage clients, it would be really interesting to know what each of you bring to this sort of situation and how you would deal with that scenario. So, starting with you, Natasha, what would be the primary things you're looking out for?
So we see this a lot where, the situation you've described where somebody has, lasting power of attorney. As a bank, we have to be very, very careful that we are allowing the people, individuals, to access those funds and access that account. So we will need a document either from a lawyer, or you can do it yourself online, but I'll leave it to the experts to talk about that. But we will do our due diligence.
What sort of due diligence would you do?
So we will make sure that the document, that we need to see that power of attorney, basically, and we need to make sure that that document is a valid legal document. So we don't do that in store. We will talk to the individuals in store. We will make sure that we've done our due diligence in terms of looking at the document, but it's dealt with a team in our head office because it's very specific and it's very specialised, and it's a situation that could go horribly wrong if we get it wrong, and if we agree to have that individual added onto an account. We need to make sure we're doing everything, in the right way.
So we send it up to head office?
We look at all the documents, we make sure we've got everything, we send it up to head office, and then they do a thorough due diligence on the back of that. So we've taken that away from store because we want it to be dealt with by a specific team that deals with that individually.
Yeah, for me, I come in before the dementia sets in. Like for my private client practice, what I usually encourage people who are planning who are doing their succession planning is to already put in place lasting power of attorneys while they are very normal. So I even have clients in their 50s, and I still tell them, look, you're already thinking about what happens to you should you fall dead now. You don't know. Maybe you have an accident, maybe something happens, and then you actually lose capacity. But you have older children or trusted relatives, wives, cousins, brothers, sisters, girlfriends that you really trust, and you're happy to give them the authority to actually look after you or make decisions for your health, your finances, should anything go wrong with you. So I usually advise my clients before they even become too old or too sick to make those decisions, to begin to plan these things, have the power of attorney done, registered, and in place. So if they ever need it, it's just a phone call, and the law firm can pick it up from where it is, their registers, voters, vaults, wherever, and then give it to the bank, and then, make sure that, on the back of the power of attorney, there is some protection for them.
So just to interrupt, so you would actually ask your client to do it in advance and notify their relative banks?
I do.
I do,
because that's more, it's more authentic, and it's at a time when there's nothing wrong with
Would
them.
you take that if that was sent to you in advance of somebody actually using it? Would it make it life easier?
It would, because we would then have the individual who we can actually refer to if there's any questions or anything arises. So it's actually better to do it in advance.
I usually advise to do it in advance, because at the time that dementia, Alzheimer's, and all that setting, you don't need a geriatric. You need professionals who will come in there and begin to do a lot of tests to test whether at the time they are giving that authorization that they are actually in the right frame of mind. They have the capacity to do it.
What about you? What are some of the things that you would add to that sort of situation before or after? What are the key things you'd be looking for?
So I will definitely link it with this in the term that yes, we have to plan this problem. I would say planning, which is key. And you have to have this legal document, this power of attorney drafted by your lawyer and make sure it's acceptable by the bank as well. I mean, we're talking about dementia, we're talking about elderly Alzheimer, but it's not just that. It could also be a disability. You could become blind, for example, and therefore you might have support. It could be mental health problem. I've seen clients suffering from bipolar. Bipolar. So they might go to a manic kind of state where they will save money. At this point, what we will have to do, usually if we assess the behavior of a client, which is kind of abnormal, we have safeguarding procedure in place. So we will flag this account, we will treat this client as a vulnerable account, and we will kind of get in touch with whoever might be the next of kin on how we can prevent these problems.
Oh, amazing.
But what I would say is introduce the rest of your family to your banker, the one you want in your circle, the trusted circle. Plan. I mean, planning is key. Have a good team of lawyers around you as well.
Thank you.
So for me, from my personal experience, my eldest son is severely disabled. He's 14, mental age of a 1-year-old. I need to go through that process of getting last and power of attorney for him. He's 14 at the moment. So I'm actually in the middle of it, and it's looking for that support and having that good network around you.
Exactly.
That's right.
When he turns 18.
Absolutely. That's right. Yeah. So to do it early on. So it's a really good point.
Having this open conversation, because you don't know what can happen in life. You know,
that's right.
And as morbid as the issue is, I mean, I think we all have to accept that once you start getting to a certain stage of life, you want to start putting those things into place. I mean, as a litigator, as somebody who goes to court, I tend to see the real sad side of it when it's really gone wrong. And I've had situations where family members have incorrectly signed the power of attorney, which you can do easily. You don't need to spend shed loads of money getting it done. You know, the Office of Public Guardian, for example, give the forms. The forms are quite hefty, and you may need a lawyer to explain certain things in it, but you can pretty much do that and submit it. So it's not one of those cases where you know, you have to shed loads of money, but a lot of people don't realise that, especially the older generation, they have a lot of money in bank accounts. Like when I'm dealing with probate, especially contentious probate, there's been a case where the woman kept 120,000 euros under her bed, and the family didn't know until they put her in a nursing home. And she had given no directives, it's called advanced directives. And as a result, a dispute arose as to how that money ought to be expended. And then also you've got to think about the fact that capacity can be ongoing or intermittent, like you said. You have to have those things in place. But if it does get to the point where you haven't got these things in place properly, then unfortunately, and when I tell people this, they're never happy about it, I have to apply to court. It's known getting court of protection. I have to apply in order for the courts then take control of your money. The courts will determine how the money is spent. The courts will determine who spends it. And then it's a whole palaver, because every year, who deputizes under the court of protection order has to file accounts. They need accountants. And then all of a sudden, all that money is being hemorrhaged from your estate. So that's what happens when you don't plan. So in my view, my motto, like yours, is plan, plan, plan. Mine is, if you plan to fail, if you fail to plan, then you are definitely planning to fail, and fail you will.
That's it.
It's really
Plan,
that simple.
That's simple.
Plan.
Have a good team around you.
Have the
Build your
HCL
network.
The dream team.
The dream team.